This is Jim Jonas and Steve Sampson with another episode of Veterans in Politics. Today we have Roy Plamer, who's going to discuss corruption in family court. We want to thank you very much for coming in, and sorry about some of the technical delays this morning. So, Mr. Plamer, tell us about yourself, just background.
I've been here in Vegas for about 22 years.
Yeah.
Basically, I've gone through some stuff with CPS that you wouldn't. I mean, I totally believe in the system and everything that it's made of. Like, I never really thought about CPS on a mainstream level how I am now, because my life obviously got put into turmoil with CPS, and some of the things that's happened while I've been going through my case has just been astonishing, because I've never really looked at CPS as anything bad, but I mean, it's just so corrupt now that I know that I've been in the system and I'm dealing with family court and CPS people, investigators and their offices and this and that. It's really come to light that there's a lot of corruption that people don't really realize that's going on in the system, and it's just horrible, because you got really honest people that are in there trying to fight for their life, fight for their family and their kids, and you got pretty much, there's a lot of how can I say it? It's hard to explain. Just from my point of view, what I'm trying to get at is, I never thought a service that's coming from the state. Well, everybody thinks it's the state, their agents, right, or blah blah. My personal view of it is, they're there to help people, but I don't know where the boundaries got overstepped to where they're at now. But I've noticed a lot of corruption coming from all the way up. I mean, from DHS, it's how can I say it? It's amazing that they have had. I think CPS has been around for like 40 years now, 30 years, yeah, but they've monopolized the whole system, from the providers to counseling places. I mean, it's amazing. Like Safe Nest, for example.
Yeah.
Safe Nest, like our case has been based on just craziness, but me and my girlfriend, we had to go to Safe Nest to do a domestic violent, what's it called? An assessment, Right. And you would think an assessment is where you go and people honestly, you tell your story and they assess you. And right, from there, it goes back to the judge and they let them know if you need any classes or what needs to be right, done, yeah. Well, we went to do our DV assessments, and they have monopolized even Safe Nest. I mean, Safe Nest is influenced by CPS, the caseworkers from CPS. Yeah. They are pretty much calling down there, and I'm sure it's a case-by-case situation, but they have their hands so deep into everything that they're telling the Safe Nest caseworkers, oh, that person needs 16 weeks, 52 weeks of counseling.
Right.
And so it's not a true assessment, you see what I'm saying? So it's just really hard to deal with getting your kids back when there's all this just red tape everywhere that's against you to begin with, right, and it's unbelievable. I mean, even up to the drug test people. I mean, people need to understand that CPS don't have the power that everybody thinks they have. They're not supposed to drug test. The only person that can do that is a real criminal court judge.
Right.
But the judges in family court, they seem to think they're higher than God. It seems like, and that's how they act in court. I mean, I've had a judge tell me my due process doesn't exist in family court. I've had them walk all over me and pretty much tell me I can't have no jury trial, or family members can't come in. You have no support from nobody. So they get to do and make up whatever rules at that time on however they feel. And you have to take it. And it's crazy. It's just...
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because when we were talking a little bit earlier, I know a lot of really good attorneys in town. They will not touch family court because they're like, we don't know what the rules are. So one of the things that we were discussing earlier was that the way family court judges work, it's weird. It's like they combine civil with criminal. So they kind of flip depending on the best interest of the child. They always hide behind that too.
The best, it's crazy you bring up the best interest of the child, because I think that's just a backpedal they use.
Yeah, like it's a cop-out.
Exactly, because what is the best interest of the child? I mean, everybody, if you ask anybody, everybody has their own opinion on what the best interest is.
Right.
To me, the best interest would be having two parents that love you and want to care for you and making it work, you know?
Right.
And that's how it should be, but CPS and the family court system has made it all about money. And now it's just gone crazy. And like you said, what you were talking about, like there's attorneys, good attorneys. I mean, there's excellent attorneys here in Las Vegas, Nevada, that are amazing attorneys. And I've seen it myself, just like you were saying. I've hired some of the best attorneys to help me, and they've, for some reason, once they get into court and something starts happening, they back out. You know, they get off my case. And I think it has a lot to do with like some of the corruption of attorneys have to put in so many hours a year to keep their bar or whatever their license. So, I mean, and this is only my opinion from what I've seen, I feel that these good attorneys, they don't want to touch it because there is a lot of wishy-washy. I mean, it's amazing.
Right. They kind of make the rules up as they go.
Oh, they do.
You want to, there was another thing that you brought up to me that I would like you to discuss a little bit. As far as if you hire an attorney, they don't file the paperwork on time. You try to file the paperwork yourself on time, but you can't.
Yes, that's most definitely true. It's everything in family court is timely. Like when opposition, there is a fine line where, and it's exactly what we were talking about. Yeah, you cannot file paperwork yourself if you disagree with your attorney, whether it's a paid attorney or a attorney assigned to you from the court. It's awful. Like it's a big mess, and they keep you in this like big ball of confusion. Yeah. And that's what happens. Like you get a certain amount of time to file paperwork because, say, the petition they filed on you alleges they're saying you did this, and you got to come back within so many days, 45 days or 30 days, and say, no, I didn't. And if you don't do that, then you lose stuff. You lose actual like rights that are supposed to be given to you, you know, or that are supposed to be yours. So
you know, one of the things I find interesting that you brought up, how everything is so timely in family court. But family court cases are supposed to be settled within 6 months. We've interviewed several people that like have been going through family court for like the last 20 years. Right. So, I mean, what kind of delays did you see?
Well, see, they it's real easy to go in there and they do everything so fast that it's all smoke and mirrors. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And like I'm at almost 2 years with my case right now. Yeah. And so it's like, and this is all because the judge wants you to go get an assessment done. And this assessment could take a CPS investigator or your caseworker 3 months to get you a referral down there. And they do it on purpose because they want to be able to show the time it took for you to go down there, and they make it all look like you messed up. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, but it's really not. The courts do that so they can extend things so they make more money. You know what I mean? And there's more money spent, more money put into the providers that are out there, because the places they send you to go do an assessment usually is connected to the judge or connected somehow to the court system, to where the money you're spending or the money that's being spent through the county for you to go do this, it's all one hand washing another, and the money's being laundered back into the judge's pockets, the DA's, wherever, you know. Right. It's ridiculous.
So let me ask you this. I know I've gotten feedback from other viewers that say, okay, well, it's fine you're trying to exploit, or not exploit, but, you know, uncover this corruption, but what would be what would be the answer, do you think? What would you like to see? I mean, I'm not asking you to solve the whole family court system.
I don't think that's possible, but not in an hour, that's for sure. But from my point of view, don't get me wrong. Everybody, being a parent is hard. Being a parent is very hard, and every day is a new battle. But to help solve this system, it's if you're doing something in the dark, like I said, it will always come to the light. The truth, in my heart, how I was raised, the truth will always set you free. Yeah. Now, the system that we're dealing with, everything is closed doors. Nobody wants to let anybody in because of too many people finding out what's going on. They'll be able to root out the bad, you know. And to me, I think it should be an open door policy. I mean, if anybody wants to come in and look at something or look at paperwork or sit in on the court, or like you guys, if you guys want to come in and check things out, you know, just to see, you know, randomly what's going on, that should be something that should be allowed to happen, you know. And I think these judges just have too much power. Well,
one of the things that I'm glad you brought up the court observers, because not too long ago, Steve showed up and he tried to sit in on Judge Duckworth's one of the cases he was overhearing. This was on December 15th of last year. And anyway, long story short, the marshal told Steve, it's a sealed case. You can't come in. So Steve complies, right? Okay, it's a sealed case. It wasn't a sealed case. It was actually moved into a breakout session. So it basically is a conference, right? But he wasn't allowed to sit in because Duckworth knows who he is, exactly, and didn't want him in the courtroom.
That's pretty awful, because you know what I've noticed too, that like our case that we have going on, I mean, I could honestly say I can remember going to like where we've actually showed up to family court and been in a courtroom like 6-7 times out of this whole process. Yeah. I just recently got my minutes for the court, you know, because like I said, I can't find an attorney, a good attorney that will fight for you. Right. They're not out here. You're not going to find one. I mean, like numbers of people having to go pro se for themselves in family court is astonishing. It's like 80% people that want to do something for themselves and get their family back together. You have to lightweight become your own attorney and fight for it. Otherwise, it ain't going to happen. So like what you were just saying, like all these courtrooms are closed and they keep you from it, but it's horrible. Like I have to go pro se, and it's amazing. Like you said, these attorneys just don't want to.
And the bad part about the thing that really frustrates me with family court is the way they abuse pro se litigants. Like if you file too much paperwork, then they call you vexatious. Oh, yeah. But yet an attorney, they can file as much stuff as they want.
Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanchez, Jim Jones with Veterans in Politics. We're talking with Roy Plamer, who's going to discuss the corruption within our Clark County family court system. Mr. Palmer, please continue.
Yeah. So we were talking about pro se litigants and stuff like that. I've unfortunately have had to step into that as being my own attorney, because the attorneys they appoint you here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and Clark County seem like they're not really for the people that they're representing. They're more for the court, you know, and they lead things out. They make things last longer, and then you got to deal with the CPS, and they make things last longer. So, like we were talking about, like I'm coming up to 2 years inside my CPS case that should have never went well over 6 months. Yeah. And that's basically.
Was CPS called on you?
No, my stepdaughter at the time, she was 9 years old, and she ran away at 3 o'clock in the morning.
9?
At 9 years old, yeah. This is right when the pandemic was coming to the end. Everybody's been stuffed in the house, you know, nothing going on. And she ran away to go to her grandma's house, and the police found her, thank God, and came to my place and knocked on my door at 3:30 in the morning.
You have an alarm on your door?
No.
You should do
yeah, most definitely, that's for sure. But the cop said, hey, do you know where Isabella is? And we said, yeah, she's right on it. And look, she wasn't where she was supposed to be. So the officer obviously kept her downstairs and called CPS on us. And that brought the investigator to our place. And what should have been him asking us, well, we want to say she's a runaway. Like, she ran away. That wasn't our fault. So that opened up the door for CPS into our life. And that's what caused them to come into our life.
But how is that neglect if everybody's asleep and a 9-year-old decides to open up the door?
It wasn't actually neglect until the investigator showed up that morning, and she was like getting real, how can I say it? She was, we got into a pissing contest about the whole situation, how it should have been dealt with. She should have came in and said, I need to help you deal with your daughter, find out, instead of coming in like, you guys ain't no good, you ain't taking care of your kids. She came in and she was huffing and puffing, and that's...
What side of town do you live on?
Tropicana and Boulder Highway.
Is that a good neighborhood?
It's a low-income neighborhood.
Okay.
And really, to basically put it all down, where we live is a weekly. So that really kind of, I bet, played a part,
You think they were messing with you because they figured that you weren't financially capable of
Most
fighting
definitely.
the system?
Most definitely. I mean, that fuels the fire, I think, in all of it, because I think that's why the cop called CPS, is because I think Metro is trained to, in certain situations, in low income.
Flip the switch. Same scenario, you in Summerlin in a $500,000 house or something like that. You'd think the cops would have called CPS on you.
No, I don't think so. No, not at all. I think
For the same situation.
It would have been dealt with and handled a little bit different, most definitely.
Because it's one of those things. It's almost like you're profiled. They're like, oh, here we go again. This neighborhood, they automatically got to be bad.
Correct. Yeah, most definitely that.
Hey, I lived in the hood. I'm a good guy.
Right. I mean, there was no reason.
I used to live in the hood. I live in the hood anymore.
Yeah.
There was no reason for them to be called. Our situation could have been dealt with a lot different and handled, and it would have been better in the long run, but it wasn't.
So CPS was called, and what happened?
Basically, the investigator, this happened at 3:30 in the morning, so by 6:30, almost 7 o'clock in the morning, the investigator showed up, and like I said,
early.
Yeah, for them, yeah. And so I kind of get into this whole, she's telling me, oh, you got to have another lock put on your door or I'm taking your kids. I'm like, I got the same locks everybody else has on the door. You know what I mean? You can't stop somebody at that age. If they're going to run away, what am I supposed to do? I can't break the law and chain them down, So
then that's also abuse.
Yeah, that's corporal punishment. Yeah. So I get into it with this lady, and she obviously, I told her, you ain't taking my kids without a removal order or a warrant. And the police were there, remind you, and I didn't get put in handcuffs because obviously if I was doing something wrong, or they would have put me in custody.
Right.
Yeah. They're there to make sure the situation doesn't
escalate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, she takes all my kids because I tell her, you ain't going to do it without a warrant. She says, well, I'll show you. And for my daughter running away and me having a pissing contest with her, she basically called my girlfriend's mom, because that's where I have 5 kids. That's
you
where
5 kids?
Yeah.
You're a busy guy.
Well, no, but it is, they basically threatened her mom into giving up the other 3 kids because I told them that you can't take them, And she proved me wrong. I mean, at this point in time, I wish I would have shoved my foot in my mouth because I think that really made it as bad as it is now.
Yeah.
So...
Hey, we're all guilty of that. Sometimes we talk too much.
Well, yeah, most definitely. And that day I did.
I'm the number one suspect on that.
Right. But yeah, that's basically what happened. And now it's just been an ongoing process. And since they broke the law to enforce the law, pretty much is what they did, I feel.
That should be a shirt.
Yeah.
Break
Bumper
the law
sticker.
to enforce the law.
Well, that's what they do. They break the law to enforce the law. Like they try to, they'll do whatever it takes to get to what they want to do. And then they go back in time, because this takes a couple weeks, months, whatever. And then they go back and they nitpick all the little stuff to put out there. And it's like, you can't do that. That's just ridiculous. I mean, but they do it and they get away with it. I mean, and it's just not right. And they're not just doing it to children. They're doing it to the elderly, veterans that fought for this country. You know what I mean? And they're taking them. And people don't realize CPS just doesn't stop at children. They go after our grandparents, great-grandparents, and they're taking them out of their home that they've lived in for 50 years.
Yeah,
that
the senior citizen.
they fought for this country, that made this country what it is, and they're taking those people and putting them in convalescent homes just so the state could attack their property and get their property, and because they have no family members, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it just don't stop there. I mean, there's still
everything in probate, but that's a whole different.
Well, yeah, that's a whole.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
a whole different show.
Yeah, but I mean, people don't realize this. I mean, there's a lot of elderly people that are being abused by our system. Veterans, I mean, all ages, all walks of life, they're being actually abused by CPS and this corruption of the courts. I mean, it's unethical and it's ridiculous. I mean, you look at me. I've had trouble in my past, but I've never done nothing that I wasn't held accountable for that I should have been. You know what I mean? So I think outside the box. And
you get away with anything wrong?
Never. Right? Trust me, I've paid for everything I've done wrong, and I still am, man. But it just seems like I was raised in a good family. I mean, all my family were firefighters. They were Air Force, where have you. But I know right from wrong, and it's totally wrong what they're doing. You know, and it sucks to see the nature of the beast come out. And now it's like, so like you point out a lot, everybody points out, everybody knows what's going on. Right. Everybody sees the corruption, but nobody wants to touch it. Nobody wants to stand up and be accountable or hold anybody accountable for the wrongs they're doing. And when is it going to stop? You know, I tell people I know, you know, you don't really understand until it comes to your front door and now you're faced, your kids are took. It's like these new vets are at school right now. If a teacher even thinks, or they think you got a cough or cold, they could say it's COVID, and they could pull your kids out of school, and CPS could actually take them from you, and you have to wait their 3-week observation or whatever they want to do. And people don't know how far
this rabbit kidnapping.
Yeah, it is kidnapping. They do a lot of it because it's. I've even, you know, on my case, like I tried to file a police report with Metro on kidnapping, and they wouldn't allow me to because they heard CPS. Because automatically everybody thinks, oh, you got CPS in your life, you're a scumbag. Oh, yeah. You're beating your kids or you're touching your kids. That's not the case at all. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen to people. You can be driving a rental car, and because that person didn't do your paperwork right on the computer, right, you get pulled over for a stolen car, and you have your kids because you picked them up from school. And now they take your kids, and it's just I
want to get back into how did this transpire into the family court system?
Basically, just it's when my daughter ran away. It's the only thing we had.
You weren't going through any type of divorce or
no divorce,
visitation or custody fights or
nothing.
You have 5 kids.
Yes,
they're all the same mom, or
one isn't.
One isn't. Okay.
Well, I have 2 with a mother, and the third one is like that's all she knows is her mom, and then there's 2 stepchildren. Okay, pretty much, you know.
So what courtroom were you in?
We were pushed right into courtroom 22 with Giuliani, like
Cynthia Giuliani.
Yes, and
what happened in there?
Basically, I don't think she knew. I think what happened is from the outside looking in, she gets the paperwork put in front of her, and by DHS, CPS, and the DA. The DA you probably don't even really know, but the CPS workers, they get to make there's no affidavits, there's no affirmations. They don't have to sign under penalty or perjury. So they could say whatever they want because nothing comes back on them. So they could put their own 2 cents in, and they push the paperwork like the petition. They filed a petition on me saying I had a DV. They made a case number and said it was out of Henderson, and they lied on the petition. You can look it up. I got it in black. CPS and
said you had a DV.
And there's you can look up the case number.
Make up a case number.
They made up a case number. You can look at it on my petition, and the DA put under penalty and perjury signed it, saying that it's true, and gave it to the judge. So,
why didn't you get them for contempt?
Who's going to do that?
You could file a motion for contempt with the court.
Listen, Giuliani told me I run this court. Due process isn't in this.
So she said what?
There is no due process in our court.
She said that?
In court, yes. And
she said that?
She said that to me, yeah.
Exactly what did she say?
She said, I said, my due process has been violated. She said, there is no due process in my courtroom. So what do you do? I don't know what to do.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah, it is.
There's been other things.
Did you file an appeal with the Supreme?
Not yet. We haven't made it that far yet.
Okay.
And trying to get an attorney to actually file paperwork for me is non-void. I can't find anybody. I've paid 2 attorneys that have walked away, that have gotten rid of me off their case because I've asked for things to be filed, like a timely motions to be filed. They won't file them. And I don't understand why they're allowed to get away with this. But even to this day, right now, my whole situation is, if you read over my case, it would make a brass monkey cry. You know what I mean?
So if she's telling you that there's no due process in her courtroom, which is actually the people's courtroom, because
So you got a real courtroom?
they're the ones paying the bills on that courtroom. But anyways, is she trying to make you a vexatious yet?
Oh yeah, by far, yeah. Because I've went pro se, and everything has been like, when we went to trial, I was my own attorney.
Yeah.
She basically just shut me out. Like, the DA was supposed to send me a witness list, and he never did. So, and like, there's all these things. Like, our adjudication was not even filed for a year.
You see, this is the problem. I think judges are on the bench way too long.
Way too long.
And they get really, really entitled. For her to make a statement like that means she's been on the bench way too long.
Very
she needs
comfortable.
to get off of it.
I mean, yeah, most definitely, because she's not following the law.
So she took away your constitutional right by making you vexatious, trying to shut you down.
Yeah.
So that's a violation of Amendment 14. You have no you have no fair judiciary, basically.
None.
She's shutting you up so you can't defend yourself.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Yeah. And there's nothing.
There's always something you could do, though.
We've tried.
What did you try?
I mean, we've tried, to our knowledge. We've wrote I forgot who my girlfriend at the time. She was writing to DOJ, like to our
justice.
Yeah, we've done everything. We've even tried to file with the police. I mean, we've went as far as we had to go to the feds, because I said, I don't know what to do anymore. I mean, I know right from wrong, and what they're doing is wrong. You know it in your heart when something's wrong. And so I went and filed a report with the feds over at their building, and hopefully.
What did they? How long ago was it?
This has been a few months, but they've contacted us and got more information. Okay. And right now, I don't know if there's open investigation or what's going on, but they have.
You filed a judicial discipline complaint against Judge Giuliani?
We did. We filed on the bar, to the bar. And
no, to judicial discipline.
I don't think, I think she did.
Not the state bar, because you usually file the state bar when they're attorneys and not holding the position of judge.
Okay, yes.
You need to file judicial discipline commission.
And some of the stuff we're learning now, I mean, it's hard. It's hard when you're in family court because you don't know, because they keep everything so crazy. There's not laws in the law book. They're like over here in administrative. You don't know where to look.
Well, it's set up to confuse the layman.
It does, and it does.
Yeah.
And they keep everything up in the air, and it's really confusing. So it's a learning process. But yeah, we've filed paperwork on stuff like here and there on our attorneys, and I believe she did something on a judge, but we don't get no feedback. There's nobody.
You have to file one with the Judicial Discipline Commission.
Right.
That's what I would do. And I don't know if you want to do this. You could also file a federal lawsuit against the judge for violating your due process rights, the one that she said that don't have any in her courtroom.
Right.
Yeah, you could file a federal lawsuit for that. And you could also file an appeal with the Supreme.
Right. I think
Appellate Court.
I mean, now you saying
Have you done that?
No, but having somebody that knows the knowledge, like you telling me this, is a lot of help, because people don't know this.
No.
They get railroaded. Like right now, we get railroaded.
And they think they're stuck and they have nowhere to go.
Exactly.
I tell people, the same way the system is screwing you, make sure you use the system to defend yourself.
Right. Yeah. Knowledge is power, you know, and you get so much.
That'd be $5.99. Give it to Jim on your way out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's how it works. I mean, it's serious. Like, you go to these attorneys and you pay them money, and you would think they would give you this advice. They don't, because they're for the court and they're for their, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's horrible. It's just,
and they're all buddies together. So
yeah, we're finding out the hard way. Yeah, most definitely. I hope you're taking notes. What are you saying?
She's going to get the tape. So, do you have anything else to add to this, Mr. Palmer?
Just like I've seen on some of your other shows, just don't let the CPS, everybody feels that they have more power than even the cops, but they don't. They have no power. They only got the power that you give them, that you entitle them to, which I made that mistake. But I just, hope this does something. You know what I mean? It helps people out, man. Because obviously, you know a lot about the law, obviously, and a lot of people out there don't. You know, and there's a lot of corruption out there. You know?
yeah.
And it's more.
Corruption only grows if you allow it. So if you get screwed over, you do nothing. You allow it to grow.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. No, I feel.
It's
you.
like a bully in school. He
Yeah.
ain't gonna stop till you beat his ass, right?
Well, or until something happens. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what they do. I mean, and they lead you down a rabbit hole that you have. It makes you, at the end of the day, like we felt like we've tried so hard and contacted so many people that we get frustrated and tired, and then people think we just gave up. But that's not the case. When you're dealing with something like this for so long, it gets tiring. You know.
So where are you now with your case?
Actually, with my case, my mother-in-law has the kids right now. They're not in child haven or protective, none of that.
Was that a court order to give to the mother-in-law?
Pretty much, no. It was, she went in and fought because they were in child haven. And
How long were they in child haven for?
2 or 3 different times. 3 times, to be exact.
Why?
And, well, first off, they went to to their foster parents, and they were great people. These people were awesome. I mean, they were awesome. Hands down. I've never dealt.
What are the age of your children?
10, 8, 7, and now 5.
And they're all in child haven?
No, not no more. They're at their grandma's house.
They were in child haven several times?
Yeah, they were in child haven, yes. But they're not now. But we're still fighting our case because they're trying to take our parental rights from us.
Are they trying to terminate your parental rights?
Well, yeah, because the way they stole our kids, and they have
Under
to go
what grounds?
Under my stepdaughter running away.
So that one time, one child ran away.
Well, it's not just one time. There was our stepdaughter, when we come off COVID-19, when we were all, mom was laying the kids down, taking a nap, everything was going on. Her name is Bella. She decided to help mom with laundry. She wanted to help mom so she didn't have to do so much. So she was going to grandma's to get quarters because grandma works at a convenience store, just ballpark. Well, she took her brother and sister, Michael and Danny, and they hopped on the bus. They do this all the time with their grandma or with us, whatever. And they were going there. Well, the bus driver said, "Hey, where's your parents? Where's your parents?" And this was like 10 days prior to Bella running away on her own. And that was, for instance, what the situation was, you know what I mean? But 9 days go by. Well, the cops come. We go pick the kids up. So we have a talk with them. Everything's good. And then a week and a half later, Bella decides in the middle of the night to take off. But she went by herself.
So how old were they when they were trying to get on the bus?
Bella was 9, and her sister was 7, and her little brother was 5. But
hold on. What's going on, Mr. Palmer? How come your kids are just leaving the house and jumping on buses?
They never done that before. I don't know why.
Well, what's going on? Do you give them free reign or?
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't really, even to this day, I don't know. We can't even talk to Bella about it.
Are they being not supervised?
Oh, no, they're supervised. I mean, we're not even supposed to say nothing to them per CPS. Otherwise, that's whatever they're going to do. They could take the kid. They told us we can't talk about that with them. Otherwise, if they find out we did, they'll take the kids. That's what they say. We're not supposed to have any kind of what led up to it, and I don't understand why. Either they could do that or want to do that because it's obviously a situation that needs to be resolved. Right. So we haven't really been able to figure that whole thing out, But yeah, we've never had no situations ever like that before. Never. And it's just, but that's what started the whole thing, you know what I mean? And then when she left that second time, she left by herself. And like I said, luckily the cops found her because somebody, who knows what could have happened if anybody else would have found her, Mm-hmm. But yeah, we still, to this day, don't know exactly why.
Do you have anything you want to add that we haven't covered?
Oh, no.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Jim?
Yeah.
No, I'm good. We've already discussed what we wanted to talk about.
All right. Well, Ms. Palmer, thank you so much for coming on the program. I really appreciate you coming, and sorry for me being a little late. Thought today was Friday.
Yeah, that happens, man. That happens.
I might think tomorrow's Friday, too. But I want you to look at the camera and tell final words, whatever you might want to say. You want to reach out to somebody, and any point of contact you want to give as well.
There's not too much. We covered everything pretty much, but I just want to let people know that CPS don't have the power they have. So keep it in mind when they come to your door. You don't have to let them in. You don't have to let them do nothing, really, and make sure that the paperwork they got is righteous paperwork, because they will bring fake paperwork and they'll say a judge signed this and they haven't, and the judges will stand behind them and they'll also lie on top of it. So yeah, I just hope people realize that not all people that have a CPS case are bad people, you know. There's a lot to every story, you know. But that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Palmer. Jim? Folks, that's Roy Palmer. He was talking about the corruption with Department of Family Service and the family court system. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas. Until next time.